Okay, so Khalid, tell us about your work up in the northern area of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, so I have most of my career was in corporate America. Like I said, my background is engineering and engineering management. But a few years ago, I took a step back and I focused more on the community and like sustainable development. So I formed like a little group, essentially from ethnic people from my background, that part of the world, and we developed like an organic farm here. We got two farms, one here in the Twin Cities and one about an hour south of here, rural Minnesota. And we do everything organic. We keep a few sheep and we do some vegetables and all of that gardening. And hence that renewed my interest in sustainable living. Um, we do farming and we do now we're getting into solar cooking. We also have a group of technical minded people who are building like a solar cart, like a little tricycle, just for so all in the spirit and the interest of like sustainable living, living gently on the earth and living very frugally, economically. And it's about 20 or 30 different families. We meet every Sunday. We have a meal together. Luther was very gracious to come and join us last month. And yeah, that's mostly it. Sudanese farming group.com if anybody is interested.
Yes, it was a wonderful event. But I think we got there, and there may be 8 or 10 folks hanging about, and then gradually the food arrived, and gradually, probably what, 50 or more
Yeah,
people, I think.
absolutely.
And we were able to put out our simplicity to. I think we just figured we'd try an egg or two because there was we had the smoke from the Canadian wildfires that really cut the power of
Yeah.
the sun, almost worse than overcast clouds. I still get solar power on our roof when it's overcast. We might get a kilowatt out of the 6 from our solar panels. But that day, I think we finally got an egg about, I think it was
You
a
did.
frittata. A frittata, we put some vegetables in and then the eggs. But it was great for the fellowship, an amazing project you got going there, and being able to go back to your home country to share the wealth of information you already have and what you're learning from doing that farm and everything. That's great.
No,
Yeah,
actually had on video a couple people from back home, and they were watching this. And even, I mean, I always get surprised. Like a lot of people in attendance, they've never heard of this.
yeah.
They've never seen it in practice. And many of them are from a technical background. Some of them had engineering degrees, and they've heard about it vaguely, but they've never seen it. And to see how simple and how doable and how affordable it is, I mean, this is just like this is amazing. I mean, it impacts a lot of people's lives. I'm sure the people who were on video from back home, from Africa, and until today, I mean, they call me and they're talking about this, and they're thinking of forming their little group over in
Great.
Sudan so that to start propagating this and working on it and spreading the knowledge. So this is all thanks to you, Luther.
Well, I'm glad you were able to connect. Like you mentioned, we tried 2 or 3 years ago, and calendars just kind of went that way in the wrong direction. But
Right.
now we're now permanently joined at the hip. We're going to have you back, and I'm going to try to get to the other projects going on there. I forget. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. That has a project in Frogtown. I
Yeah,
want to get there with
Nura.
the solar cooker. The timing was kind of bad because Joe and I are planning a very long road trip in a van, almost 6 months, starting in a few days. And so we've been trying to get the van all set up so we can car camp in it. But we'll be back. We will be back through most of next year for sure. So, well, great. Thanks so much. And I see also Aisha Kundapur. Uh, what's new in your neck of the woods?
Nothing new, gentlemen. I'm trying
Hello.
to view, I'm trying to woo these scientists to work on simpler solar cookers. There's just one group from Italy which has worked on about four different types of solar cookers, but in other places, I don't know. So I think I'll have to And now I'm trying to publish some general articles for the general public so that somebody will pick up this and try to work on the solar cookers in their region. I think that's all I have to say.
Sure,
And
thanks for, yeah, go ahead.
Today's volunteers are Gold Star families, civic leaders,
So,
and
so I'm going to put a link to Ashok's book. He put together a book, Treatise on Solar Cookers, that has just about every solar cooker for which there's a photograph or a technical drawing that I've ever seen in one between two covers. For a long time, he's maintained a website with all this, and he was able to put it all in a book. I'll put a link to the wiki article on that so you can all check that out. Let's see, get that in the chat. There we go. Well, next, well, we might as well have Dave. Dave, tell us about the Solar Cooking UK.
I'm still sophistication. You're not going to follow some stupid theories.
No, we have some background.
Is somebody speaking?
No, it's a background. I'm gonna see what's going on. Is that Andy? Is that background? I'm gonna do a few mutes, which I hate to do, but okay.
Yeah, it's quiet now. It's quiet now.
Okay. Yeah, and then if I muted the right person with the background stuff, we'll just unmute when you're ready to. We're only calling you. So go ahead, Dave.
Well, here in the UK, we're just about coming up to our big annual festival, the Green Gathering, where me and a friend from London take a bunch of solar cookers up to. It's kind of like a small music festival, about only about 4,000 people, but it's similar to what Khalid was saying just then. This it's called the Green Gathering because these folks are very much into green living and all that sort of thing. But nevertheless, every year people come up and say, "What are these? I've never seen or heard about these at all." So, one of the presentations we gave recently at the big Console Food conference in France was based on the idea that no one really has heard of solar cookers. And we, the people assembled here and the people at that conference are outliers. In other words, we've heard of solar cookers, we know how they work, and we know how to build them and use them. But the majority of the population just haven't ever encountered them or heard of them. And we were wondering how we might remedy that. Hello?
Yeah, well, just to talk about it being the best kept secret in the world, we want to make it the worst kept secret.
Yeah.
At the conference, I mentioned this book, 1955. Okay, now it's showing forward for me because I switched the mirroring. Proceedings of the World Symposium on Applied Solar Energy, 1955. And one of the main presenters said exactly that. Said, "We all know solar cooking works. Why aren't people just all doing it?"
Mm.
1955, for 70 years, our group has been saying that. Dave has been doing everything he can to make sure the UK gets the word, his neighbors get the word. I'm trying to just do what I can. We all have our own kind of corner where we do the publicity, but the more any of you can do that, the better. So, but
I mean,
anyway,
I've come to the conclusion that we may have to break the law in order to bring solar cookers to the attention of the general population. I'm not quite sure. Maybe cook in front of the Houses of Parliament with a big parabolic cooker or something like that. Or get a film star to wear one when they perform at Glastonbury or one of the big festivals. But we're kind of almost out of ideas, except for outrageous ideas, really, about how to bring it to the attention of, just about everybody.
yeah, it's you're taking a leaf from Stu McLaughlin's book, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Get in the middle of the road if you have to. Just
yeah,
so people can't
exactly.
ignore you. you have to come to a full stop and examine the situation. Uh, okay, well, news, folks. The Sharon always has something new. Oh, and I might have to. I'm sorry. I might have to ask you to unmute because I started muting because I wasn't sure uh, where the sound was going kafooey.
Yeah, I'm this year finally getting back to being excited about all my old experiments, and I'm taking out each solar cooker that I made and seeing what, I stopped when I got to the point where you could cook with it and never did any more on it. And I got like 25 different things. Well, you did the thing, Luther, and so like I did a 3D printed plastic, and that one, well, I put a cover over it in the sun and it melted part of the plastic. So I had to reprint that. And so I've got those reprinted and I'm just about ready to put that together. And then I have to figure out how to hold the food because the design the guy made had plastic tripod to hold it up. I mean, he made the most beautiful solar. I mean, it burns in like a minute. It's got flames, right? But he didn't figure out how to hold the food. And nobody's even made it except for me. It's on the let's see, Thingiverse. And so that one I'm working on. And then I had the one that was the death ray or whatever, the rings on the swing. And that one, I'm going to redo that, do a new frame on that one. And I'm going to go out this next week and get some 1 inch square tubing, aluminum tubing, and make a base so that it's easy, it's lightweight, and I can move it around. Because right now I have it hooked up to a big wooden frame, which, I don't want to carry something like that around. And then the Copenhagen, I've finally got the beginning of punching the new holes from the work they did in the University of Malaga to show me how to get 50 to 100% better heat than the snaps I had. And so that one I'm excited about. And then I'm going to take out probably all my solar box cookers, and I have about 7 or 8 of those, and then actually run tests like I did for doing the um, console food, the comparison between two of them. I'm going to get out the old tester and just really dive back into it because I've had like 2, 3 years of health problems which are behind me now. And so I just now I've got all my stuff out in the shop and I'm going, well, maybe I can fix this a little bit like that. And that's basically where I'm at right now is just generating the excitement again. And I don't care if nobody else knows. I'm going to tell them it exists.
You're going to eliminate that blissful ignorance.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about books. I have a Scholastic, for the schools. And it's a little booklet that was written in 1955, and it was um, Dan, what's his name, Haley or
Oh, Halsey.
Halsey, yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd done in their little booklet, they did teaching of the solar cookers. So I mean, you go back and then you go way back to Telkis. I think she was in the 40s or maybe it was 50s. And yeah, my kind of saying is that I'll show somebody a solar cooker and they'll go, I never heard of it. And I go, well, that's like 99 out of 100 people have not heard of it. So yeah, we just need to get more awareness. How we do it, I don't know. We've been trying.
That Maria Telkis, there's a documentary about her life that came out maybe a year ago called
Mhm.
The Sun Queen, and it's a fascinating how she was able to keep her own for the most part being a female in an almost exclusively male industry at the time. And some just incredible stuff that she did, not just with solar cookers, but with solar architecture,
Yeah.
phase change materials and stuff to retain heat and keep a building heated through the day. So just incredible. It's on PBS. I think you can stream it. I see it was 2023 that apparently came out. I
Yeah,
remember
I
watching
have a couple books written by her too,
it.
and it's amazing. She was a scientist and very industrious.
Yeah.
So,
When so much of what we're up against is when was the first oil well drilled, and when was the first diesel train engine built, and when was the first car made? The with just exponential growth using fossil fuels. They've been cheap, but people are starting to figure out. Wait a second, they come at a really huge social cost, and do we really want to continue mining them at all, or should we start transitioning to something else? So I think she was at the beginning where it was like really by that time, oil was king, and being able to heat homes. What was the story about Florida where they heated with passive solar with just
mhm.
hot water heat on the roof in 1900s, 1910s because they couldn't get propane. Finally, they just dug pipelines with natural gas, and then all those heaters went away. And now all of a sudden, now they're stuck and addicted to natural gas. So anyway, yeah, there's so many factors we know we have to overcome to make some progress. Well, I'm gonna say, Stan, let's hear what you got going up there in the mountain.
Well, I guess my biggest thing lately is I've designed a new tracker for the solar education project. Uh, and I wanted to come up with something that was easier for just someone without a lot of skills could build and get most of the benefit of a full-blown tracker, but not just keeping it a little bit simpler and just doing the rotation with with an easy manual tilt that can then be added on to and automated for the full blown. If you get hooked on tracking with that, then you can, with a little bit more work, you can turn it into a full blown dual axis tracker. So that's kind of my vision, and we'll see how that goes. I've built the prototype, and Christy loves it. She's tried it. It's out at the beach right now, or I'd show it to you here, but I'll be bringing it up for the Zoom with them eventually.
Beautiful, beautiful. It reminds me of when you talk about making it simpler so anyone can put it together and use it. In my theater major days, the prop people, they said you have to make a prop actor proof. So the actor doesn't screw up. If the gun has to fire, you better have a backup tape where when they pull the trigger and it doesn't blow, you got to hit that tape to have the gunshot sound, whatever it takes. That's to compensate for people that aren't ready for new technologies or whatever. That's what you're after, right?
Yeah. The other thing I've been doing is sort of, a lot of my trackers and cookers now have been in operation for about 5 years. And so I've been sort of fixing some things, and making some minor improvements here and there, just tweaking stuff and, so keeping them all running well.
Well, and you've got the perfect test environment because you get everything, right? You get snow, you get hot, you get rain, you get fallen trees,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Critters attack them once in a while.
That's right. Chewing on the wires, if not the food. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to October. We'll be dropping in on you and Sharon, Andy. I hope to make it up there. I'm going to be in the Seattle area, so I won't have an excuse to check in on you too. And on that note, I'm going to. I might have to send you the ask to unmute. If you want to go ahead, Andy.
Okay, my name's Andy Lenz, and I live in the Seattle area. This is not the best place for solar cooking. It's either rainy, cloudy, just gloomy, and not. So I have to keep watching the weather report for when it'll be sunny. I got started in cooking solar cookers about 13 years ago when I was living in Nevada, and that was the perfect place. It was sunny in the summer and in the winter. It could be, and I could do my tests and make my final models, and it was a perfect place. But since moving to Seattle area. I don't live in Seattle. I like to call it the Seattle area. I build my designs during the winter, and then when spring comes, I try them out. The last one I built was a solar reflector that's based on a dish that can be purchased from Amazon. It's called a beauty dish. It's used in photography, and I'll show you what it looks like.
Oh yeah, that's one solid piece. The
Yeah,
reflector.
it's
Wow.
it's one solid piece. It's made out of steel, uh, and this one is 28 inches diameter with a depth of 10 inches. It's not a perfect parabola with a single focal point, but it comes to close to being a perfect parabola. The focal point is between 4 inches and 8 inches from the bottom, which is really good. If you have a single focal point, you end up with a hot spot where it'll burn the food. And I've tried it on sunny days. I do my tests, and using oil to see what kind of temperature I can get. It reached 300 degrees Fahrenheit in 1 hour, and the Dutch oven is 1.5 quart, and I had it full of half of it was full of oil. If you use water, all you do is you reach the boiling point. Then after that, you really don't know how much more uh, temperature it can handle. But with oil, it'll just keep heating and heating until the oil starts smoking. And and the I lined the interior of the reflector with this mirror film that you can buy, and that seemed to work very well. And then I put a cover on it, which was made out of polycarbonate, and which creates it it's like a reflector oven. If if I don't have the cover, you can keep heating the Dutch oven, but the heat will radiate from it. But by putting a cover on, you retain the heat within the dish. The back of the dish is also insulated, so that heat does not escape from the back of the dish. And then I have it mounted on my solar tracker, the original design is 13 years old, but I've keep modifying these things to fit my uh, designs. And this basic design of the solar tracker works well for this, where it's got the two uprights and the rod going through the dish, and then the Dutch oven is suspended from the rod. So it's very simple. And what else? And again, the tracking is determined by the amount of sunlight the solar cell sees. And if it doesn't see enough voltage, the motor does not have enough power to rotate the assembly. And it works very well. I don't have a automatic elevation on it, because I don't think it's necessary. In 2 hours of cooking, I have to move it, maybe adjust it like 2 times, where the tracker that follows the sun, it moves the dish about once maybe every 15 minutes. And so and tomorrow is supposed to be a very sunny day, so I'm going to try to cook something on it. And so that's all I have to say.
Well, that's great. And so, yeah, when I get up there, it'd be great to take it out and put it through its paces for the camera. That'd be fantastic if that's okay.
Yeah.
And also, I'll make note. Andy sent me one of his later cookers. I have it in my porch, but we're in that in between stage where, because we're preparing for this trip, and we've been preparing for months. And also, when we get to Albuquerque, we're going to look for a spot where we might actually finally put up an official museum. So a lot of the cookers I've got, they're still in the box I got shipped from eBay or from Andy or for whoever. So I make sure I don't mess them up, and set them out and then all of a sudden it rains or whatever. So, but I can't wait to break it out. I'll probably be able to pull it out next spring because we'll be back and for spot of good weather, we're gonna set it out. So great. Well, and yeah, we'll look forward to that. That'll be. I'll send you the dates. I think I might have sent you the rough dates of when I'd be in Washington State, but I'll send you a specific date. So when I'll be dropping in on Tom Sponheim and so forth, and we'll coordinate. I think I'm going to be there at least 3 days. So we got to be able to break something up. Okay, Cheryl, what's new?
Well, I have success to report at last.
Great.
And I have a few pictures to show as well, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah. In fact, I usually turn on the share for everyone. There we go. You should be
Okay.
able to share now. Yeah.
All right. Well, just to preface it, I live in the Canary Islands. I live on the biggest island, Tenerife, and it's called the Island of Eternal Springtime, but believe me, it's not. And I first came onto one of Luther's calls because a friend's husband had given me a tagine from Morocco, and I thought, solar cooking, I should try it. Something I've always been vaguely aware of. Okay. But I thought, no, living here in the Canaries, this is stupid if I don't try this. So I'm not a designer. I represent the target audience in these calls. Okay. Um, and fortunately, from the after the first meeting that we had, when I had described my solar cooker, Luther sent me a video he made with Melinda Seller. She is the designer of the sun flare, and that's what I've got. So I had ordered this thing off of Amazon because I thought, one thing, it's portable. And I thought, well, that could be a good thing. I'm not really a prepper, but I thought this could be interesting. So anyway, I've been waiting for a full day of sun, if you can believe it, in the Canaries. So it finally, Tuesday was the target day, and we started. Okay. So what I would like to do is I need to where do I find it? Oh, share. Okay, let me just share the screen with you here. Okay. Everyone can see the screen?
There it is.
Okay, that is my model. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the view around the roof. This is upstairs on the roof terrace at my house. Okay, and for those of you who are paying attention, I'm going opposite the direction of the sun. So we start with this video. I have put the thing in place on a little table on the roof. Okay, we're now looking out west. Okay, and we're now moving off toward the north. And as you can see, we're surrounded by mountains, but I've basically got 360 degrees of sun on this roof, and there is said sun. Okay, and then we come back down to my little solar oven, which is ready to go. Okay, so next, I need to. How can I get the? It's not letting me move the screen along. Whoops. Okay, let's go to the next one. There we are. We're in place. We're ready to go. Now, one of the things is that, as I say, being the target audience, one of the things I've been picking up from these meetings is the tips and techniques that you just don't think of. Okay, so here you can see that I've got a rack down on the oven, and I've got an enamel tray on top of that to help me generate heat. Okay, I decided to make a dish called ropa vieja. It's the Cuban national dish. Okay, coming from Venezuela, it's called carne mechada. Basically, it's a dish with beef and sauce, and the beef is shredded at the end of the cooking. Okay, so I started with my vegetables. This is a pan that I bought, and I learned from these meetings you want dark and thin. So this is actually a paella pan, 28 centimeters. So you can see I've thrown all the onions and garlic and peppers and everything in there. Next, the meat went on top, and it's a tomatoey broth type of thing. So I've got that on there. And then also, as I learned in these meetings, I've got a glass lid for it. Okay, so then it was a matter of trekking up to the roof and getting the thing on. Now I put the dish outside, as you can see here. We're still looking to the east. I had to go outside about every hour and a half and keep adjusting my angle, which gave me a greater appreciation for the designers who actually have some kind of a thing to turn the oven. Okay, I mean I got it once I started actually cooking. And so I had this out there from about 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the afternoon when I brought it inside. I could tell very early on that cooking was taking place. In fact, the inside of the plastic was just running with water. Okay, so I was generating steam and everything, so cooking was taking place. When I brought it in, this is how it looked. As you can see, there has been cooking. Yay, finally. Now, the only problem that I had with this is this dish is supposed to be shredded beef. And the cut that I had is it didn't say exactly what the cut was. It's probably like a flank steak. If I had done this in my slow cooker, I know it would have shredded it. And I'm not sure if that's because of temperature, although the timing was about the same as it would have been in a crock pot. So anyway, what I had to do in the end was cut this beef into pieces, and you can see we have an actual finished dish here. So there has been success in the Canary Islands with cooking with a slow cooker. And I'm ecstatic. I want to get on to my next project. I don't know what it is I'm going to make, but I'm ready to take the next step now. And as I say, this is as a result of the things that I've been learning by coming to these meetings.
Bravo.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's what needs to be done. You know, basically, once you get some, put some food in it, see what happens. I get a lot of people saying, well, you have a good recipe book. There are a lot of solar cookbooks that focus on using particular solar cookers or a wide variety. But in the end, if you got the solar cooker, go ahead and break out the Betty Crocker book or the Joy of Cooking. You know, we've got a Joy of Cooking that's losing its binding. I just keep going, you know,
I have
rhubarb pie,
two.
whatever. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, so that's it. That's what it takes. Yeah, that's so good to hear because that was the point of setting up these forums. I got to mention, I'm going to be visiting Jay Warmke in Ohio on the trip in it'll be about 3 weeks. I'll be in Ohio. He has a podcast called Solar Noon Tuesdays. It's all about the solar PV industry. He's been in it for 40 plus years, pretty much an expert. He trains in it. He has online training. He used to sell solar panels, and he has an Earthship, maybe an hour and a half east of Columbus, Ohio. Well, when I started watching that, I thought, we should have that for us. Have a gathering because it's a gathering where people can come and ask questions. He does about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes of updates from the industry, which, as you know, is rapidly changing. Like, have you heard of perovskite? Anyone heard of perovskite? It's supposedly going to replace silicon. It's got the most promise for being a lot less destructive for mining and production and so forth, but have potentially way more energy per pound of panels created from it. And I was able to talk to a woman from Sandia Labs about that when we did a tour for the ACES conference. But anyway, so he's the inspiration for me setting these up, and I thought, well, let's do it by kind of constituency, the DIY groups, and we got the manufacturing groups, and then I think we might just have a general one before too long, kind of like what Jay does, and I'll try to keep apprised of news and all that. So anyway, and every time I log into his, I learn more. I mean, I'm a technical Nimrod, I cannot do any of it, but I understand it a lot better, and I certainly appreciate our panels because of it. So anyway, I just got to give credit where credit is due. If you look up Solar Noon Tuesdays, and it's I'll find the link and put it in the chat. It's very worthwhile, even if you just sit in on it once or twice, you'll get an idea of what how valuable that is. When I first got on, there were maybe 10 or 15 people. Now there's 40 or 50 at a time sometimes. So I'm hoping that we can grow this group as well. Well, I think we've hit just about anyone. Any other questions or updates you remembered after you already talked? Or yeah, Sharon, go ahead. Uh, Desmutate. Oops.
Okay. So anyways, I just wanted to do a quick thing of I've collected some solar cooking cookbooks. And this is by Jane and Segi Seagram.
Mm,
Okay. This
yes.
is by Stella Andressy talking about Telkis. And this is another book by Stella Andres. And then there's Eleanor, who I think recently passed. I'm not sure. But see, I'm doing this since you're recording it so people can see.
Oh,
And
sure.
yeah, and so this is another one. They're that cooker, right? And then this is one she lives out in the desert somewhere, as far as I know. And then we have Over the Hill. These are solar cookbooks that I don't think anybody even knows that they exist, but I'm doing a quick show here of them. This is Mary Bevels. We know her, right? And this is that cooker again. This is a really nice one, outdoor cooking. Well, I think most of us have seen Heaven's Flame. And then we have the Sunnyside Cooking, Morning Hill Solar Cooking, Cooking with Sunshine, and then the slow cooker. And so that's just some of the cookbooks. And I've been thinking of maybe checking the list that's in the solar cooker wikia and maybe add all these guys into it, that aren't there. But I mean, it just goes back to show you how long people have been dedicated to solar cooking, and it's still unknown. But then, of course, the people who live today, the young kids, you take somebody 20 years old, they've only lived this century. Every one of these books, except Mary's and let's see, well, most all of them were written back in the last century or the last millennia, even. And so bringing the awareness to people who are interested, I think if they know there's a cookbook, because I know there's a lot of cookbook collectors, then maybe that might add a little excitement. I don't know. Anyways, I just want to do that quick review of my library.
Sure. I probably have about two out of every three that you showed up there. So you might not want me to visit you because you might find they're missing
Well, I
after I
do have
leave.
a couple of dupes.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned Eleanor Schimmel, who lived in Borrego Springs. She passed away about a year and a half ago, lived to be 100, and at least 50 of those years, she and her husband promoted solar cooking.
That was
So
her cookbook.
yeah, I mean she's been doing it forever. I think she originally
There's a
visited.
video of her too.
Yeah, yeah. I did an interview with her about 4 years ago, and it's crazy because she talked about solar cooking, but then she said, "Oh, you have to see the Christmas cards I'm making for my great grandkids." And so I got a half-hour video. I couldn't quite fit into the. I keep it because it's just precious. It was just such a wonderful visit. Handmade greeting cards, Christmas cards, birthday cards. She does for all of her grandkids, and great grandkids. But yeah, she passed away, which we missed, but lived to be 100. So maybe, might be the secret to long life. Solar cooked
I'm
food.
up for that.
I'm going to test that proposition. I got 35 years to go to prove it. Yeah. Well, any other thoughts or questions? Not to, at all to shut off early. I'm like I say, I probably got another half hour before I got to go run and get Joe from our flute choir. But um, I can't think of much else except, like I say, we're going on a road trip, and Sharon, Andy, Dave, I visited 2 years ago. Did a nice little visit with him and Charlie and Claire and Lee up at that camp for kids where they did some solar cooking promotion. Um, so, and of course, Stan, he can't keep me away.
You
We're
are
looking
going
for.
to check with Jim LaJoy and
Oh
Roger
yeah.
too down
Oh, we're
here.
gonna hope to get you guys in the same room again.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We haven't had much of a chance.
Yeah. Go ahead, Stan.
I was going to say we're looking forward to your visit. I just noticed Christy's setting up a cooker. I think she's getting ready to cook breakfast. Do you want me to just walk over and point it
Oh,
to
please do.
show you what
Yes.
she's doing?
Yes.
You see, I need to go mobile here.
Yep.
I'm going to turn it around.
Oh, look at that blue sky.
Oh yeah.
Envy. I'm still in May gray or June gloom.
This is the tube cooker that tracks. Can you see that?
Now,
There you
yeah.
go. Now it's in the frame. Yep. Oh yeah.
I'm just going to walk around a little bit here.
Oh, there's Christy hiding behind the.
I can show you one other thing. Improvement I've done to the drive wheel on my big trackers for the box cookers.
Sure.
Can you see that?
Yep.
So what that does is it takes some of the strain off the motor.
Because
Is it
of
a
the bigger diameter, Stan?
Pardon me?
Because of the bigger diameter, how does it do that?
Oh, okay. I'll, instead of the wheel attaching directly to the motor, there's a shaft that goes through a pillow block. It takes some of the strain, so the vertical up and down weight of the cooker isn't going right against the motor. Right, can you see that? Right.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just a few more parts, and just has a nicer feel to it. I think it's just better.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, you got to do one final sweep of the woods and.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Turn us all green with envy.
Yeah. Well, I'm green with envy because they got a sky that's blue.
Yeah.
Stan, you just demonstrated very well that the moving camera's quite a different thing from talking heads, and it's really nice that you can kind of like move around your plot and demonstrate things and show us things.
Yeah,
And
listen, can you see that view?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I think you're faking it. I think you've got something off the telly there. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, if you ever get over on this side of the pond, I would love to have you visit.
Oh yeah. There's like 3 or 4 places I kind of consider a pilgrimage, and Stan's is one, Sharon's is another because of her. I mean, how many different cooker designs you've come up with and put into practice. Yeah, and the other one, if you ever get a chance, I think it's still running. I sent a note to Andy Cunningham. He's a guy who manages Barbara Kerr's the Kerr Cole Sustainable Living Center in Snowflake, Arizona. Snowflake, Arizona, odd name for a desert area, but it was founded by a guy named Snow and another guy named Flake. So they call it Snowflake. That's what I read anyway. It was on the internet, so you can believe it. But anyway, that center it's just outrageous with solar drying. It's got the solar panels, wind power, and the through the wall solar cooker. And I guess now that I'm the one talking. In September, I lucked out. There's a conference in the Ghost Ranch in New Mexico. It's north of Santa Fe by about a half hour, called the National Ambient Energy buildings research symposium. It's a long way of saying passive solar for buildings. So if you want to build a house so that you take advantage of all that solar energy without not even needing the panels to make sure your home is properly heated, or the roof angle is such that in the winter the sun gets through, but in the summer it blocks the sun so you don't get heated up too much. And I've been chewing on a couple of the passive solar architect people like Mark Challam, that when they build someone's home, they should build in a solar through the wall cooker, and so I put in an abstract as soon as I saw this conference and said I'd like to include clips from 5 or 6 of the people I visited have through the wall or window mounted, or like Millen Kulkarni's balcony mounted sun dish, to say, you could stand out as an architect above the rest by saying, well, not only are you going to get passive solar for heating and water, but cooking too. So it got accepted. And the cool thing is, this Ghost Ranch was set up like 30, 40 years ago by Steve Baer, who's really kind of one of these semi-gods in the solar industry. Not he started to get trained in architecture, but he gave it up. He just didn't like the schooling, but he's come up with so many things where architects just keep referring to his stuff. So I can't wait to present there. Because I was one of the first to submit, I get housing in their passive solar huts or whatever they have. So you better believe I'll be recording a little bit of whatever I do there. I'll put out my cookers so that if before I present, they'll get a little taste of what they could get. So, but anyway, so that's my only real update other than the trip. I've got a spreadsheet of about 110 people we're going to try to squeeze in 170 days. So that's why Sharon, like the last time when we met at Rogers, if we can do that again, where it's you, Roger, Jim, Pat McCardle's going to be in Oceanside, and we're going to. Yeah, she has the Tarchichi cooker that's in the catalog at MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. That is just a stunning solar cooker. Never went into production because it's maybe a little complicated, but it's really cool. And she has one of the few that exist. I told her she shouldn't have told me that, because I'm going to hire a second story man in the DC area where she had it at the time. Now I'll have to hire them in Oceanside. But anyway, she took it apart to clean it and is having trouble putting it back together. So I said, as long as you can stand me, I'll help you put it back together. And she said, yeah, she's got on her list to donate to the museum, probably in her will. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so that's all I've got. Any last items for the good of the order? This has been great. Great to hear all the progress, new things, and new ideas. And I want to say again, welcome to Khalid, because we had such a great time doing just a micro tour of the museum for him and his cohorts, and then being able to go to their potluck. That was just a wonderful event. So, well, great. If nothing else, it'll be a little short one, but very rich in ideas and news. And I'll see at least 3 of you in the next 3 months, 4 months. Okay.
Okay. Looking
All
forward
right.
to seeing you, Luther.
Yeah, same
Thanks
here.
for doing all this for solar cooking. Takes a
You
lot of
bet.
dedication.
I really enjoy the fellowship and the creativity. I think I was born to be an inventor, but I couldn't stand science and shop class I slept through, so I'm living vicariously through all you guys that are doing the actual tinkering and fabrication and so forth. So, all right. With that,
Thanks, Luther.
yeah, thanks for stopping by. And I'm gonna do August next. July I'm gonna skip because we're gonna have a real concentrated trip going out east and then down to Florida, and then we're gonna be in Albuquerque for a month, kind of taking a break from driving around. And so we'll be able to do the August 4th Saturday like usual, and hopefully September too. I think I'll be able to squeeze that in as well. I think we'll be in the Sacramento area where we'll be able to stay for a long time. So. All right. Thanks again. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, Luther.
Bye.
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 Bye.